I've seen laptops with two screens over time, but so far it seems that the only manufacturer that has found a successful formula in this sense is Asus. And today's laptop is the ROG Zephyrus Duo 16, the 2023 model, codenamed GX650P. When I first saw Zephyrus Duo, I was stunned. I had received a reviewer's guide beforehand, but it did not prepare me for the moment I lifted the lid and saw the second screen rise from beneath it. And behold, this laptop series has survived in an extremely competitive market and has reached its third generation. At first, it was harder to do something useful with the secondary screen, but as people began to get their hands on these laptops, Asus closely followed the process and seems to have solved a good part of the problems. The Zephyrus Duo 16 2023 is a laptop under the Republic of Gamers brand. It has gaming hardware and can run games without problems, but it is not a gaming laptop. At least not in my eyes, and even if the manufacturer boasts that it is the pinnacle of gaming, I personally question this statement. From the first contact, one thing is clear. The focus on this laptop is the dual screen setup. The main screen is a 16-inch mini LED in 16:10 format with QHD+ resolution, a configuration already standard on laptops in this price range. It has a decent response time of only 3 milliseconds and a refresh rate of 240 Hz. Under it, the second screen comes in a more atypical format, offering the user about half the surface of the screen above it. But this latter one is touchscreen and comes at a resolution of 3840 by 1100 pixels. This laptop comes as a kind of answer to the dual screen setups that you see more and more often, meaning the Zephyrus Duo 16 would primarily meet the needs of expanding available workspace. But to me, the secondary display resembles more of a phone screen. It looks as if they took two phones and placed them above the keyboard, being so narrow that you can display a full screen window without looking odd. It would be more practical to divide the second screen into two equal halves. Let's say you're writing a text. You use the main screen for the text editor, while the extra space on the secondary one can host a Wikipedia page and next to it a WhatsApp window or whatever you use for communication at work. Or you're working with the Adobe suite. The second screen becomes your best friend as it provides additional space to place your tools. And if you want to use a stylus for finer modifications, nothing stops you from doing this on the secondary touchscreen. But let's not forget that Asus claims the Zephyrus Duo 16 is the pinnacle among gaming laptops. Their words, not mine. So it tears through games, right? Well, not really. Yes, it's interesting until you remember an important detail. Modern games are not designed to use two screens. In what games is the second screen functional? Well, according to Overwolf, that is another extra software from Asus, the list includes League of Legends, Dota 2, Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, and Apex Legends. Wow! All the gaming in the world. Wow, not in the sense of World of Warcraft, but in the sense of exclamation. And don't forget that at the end of the day, no matter how cool this laptop is, it still runs on that darn Windows 11. And it would be an understatement to say that Windows 11 and multi-screen configurations are an unfortunate combination. And even the design of the laptop itself doesn't help much with the gaming part. Asus couldn't accommodate two screens, both with a good position. So the second screen is not easy to follow when you're sitting in a normal position at the desk. Your eyes will be focused on the main screen, rarely dropping to the second one. And yet, if you still want to use it and form a habit from this, you will find the placement to be decent given the circumstances. But this Zephyrus is a Duo primarily due to its complex hinge system. These move when you open the lid and raise the secondary screen at a certain angle. And this angle at which the secondary screen is raised relative to the chassis serves two purposes. Firstly, to make it easier to see and use, and secondly, for cooling. Under the screen, there is a large airflow area that cools the internal components. The hinges used here put to shame anything I've seen from other manufacturers, and given how they look and function, I don't think they'll fail anytime soon. Otherwise, the laptop design is quite modest. And actually, that was the intention of the ROG team, who wanted the Zephyrus Duo 16 to be a discreet laptop, not to scream gaming at first glance, to look like any other laptop. And they would have achieved this perfectly if they hadn't given themselves away by emblazoning a line and an ROG logo on the lid, both colored with a pink, purple and blue gradient. It doesn't look bad at all, it's just that the design was intended to be stealthy, and it isn't quite that. But beyond the appearance, which ultimately depends on taste, the engineering behind this laptop is even more impressive when you realize that under the two screens, crammed into a 16-inch chassis, there is a very powerful hardware platform. Ryzen 9 7945HX, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, a 1TB NVMe PCI Express 4.0 SSD, and an RTX 4080 graphics card. If you want even more power, Asus also offers configurations with a 175 watts RTX 4090, so you can make the Zephyrus Duo 16 the most powerful laptop on the market. This is also facilitated by the upgrade possibilities it offers. In this case, removing a simple plastic cover on the bottom gives you access to the two M.2 slots for NVMe SSDs and the RAM slots. Speaking of which, the maximum supported is 64 gigs of RAM, according to the manufacturer. Since we've arrived at the hardware and the discussion about the most powerful laptop, not only are the hinges solid, but in a certain sense, they are an integral part of the cooling system. The space under the second screen serves as a breathing area, and the internal airflow system is designed to take advantage of this. The arcflow fans with 84 blades are designed to move as much air as possible, which is directed straight to the hottest components in the system. Compared to the previous Zephyrus Duo models, efficiency has increased, and the current system with 4 radiators and 5 heat pipes clearly provides more cooling. This is felt on the edges of the laptop, where the hot air is convincingly evacuated, and I found it to be cooler than other laptops in this power category. So, is everything good and beautiful? Not quite, especially when you come across the reality that probably even the people who designed this laptop have encountered. Where is the room for the keyboard and touchpad? The keyboard is cramped, the keys are small and difficult to press, and the touchpad is so narrow that you need time to get used to it. And I have one more thing to comment on: the quality of the webcam. Is the year 2023. This laptop costs as much as a good second-hand car when it's fully configured, and yet I've seen cheaper phones with better front cameras. When you show 4 people discussing in a video call in your marketing presentation, you are not allowed to present such a lens. Well, that's about it, with its pros and cons, the discussion about hardware and performance. But I haven't mentioned anything about the battery. Why? Because despite all good intentions with such hardware, you can't expect the battery to last. If you want browsing and light work, you get a maximum of 3 to 4 hours of use. But at least it comes with 2 chargers, a brick for when you want maximum power and a pocket charger for carrying around. And if you're carrying the laptop around, not just the travel charger will be useful, but also the various connections this laptop offers. On the left edge, we have a 3.5mm jack for headphones and microphone, a microSD card reader, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, which also doubles as a DisplayPort 1.4a with NVIDIA G-Sync support, and as a charging port, another USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-A, and a dedicated charging port for the 300 watts brick. On the back, you have an RJ45 that supports connections up to 2.5 gig, another USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-A, and an HDMI 2.1. While on the right edge, the manufacturer has planted another USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C with support for DisplayPort 1.4a. The wireless connectivity is as usual, up to date with Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3. Another topic worth touching on is the audio system. Asus has somehow managed to cram 6 speakers into this cluttered laptop. It supports Dolby Atmos and works as a virtual 5.1.2 system, offering quite high volume at an unexpectedly good clarity level. And with that, we've covered pretty much everything this laptop has to offer, but there remains a question. Is it for gaming or not? It undoubtedly handles any game. But is it designed for that? No, because important elements that would make it for gaming, like the keyboard, are not up to this task. The same goes for that secondary screen, which doesn't find its utility when gaming. I guess the thinking behind this laptop is more like this. If you buy a Zephyrus Duo 16 for work and you also want some gaming now and then, you don't need another PC for that. But if you're looking for a gaming laptop, I would rather recommend a purebred one like the Zephyrus G14. It has only one screen, but it's truly for gaming. It's cheaper and definitely easier to recommend to those who want to play. But that doesn't mean that this one isn't a real gem, and so far the only viable solution for a dual-screen laptop on the go, meaning both a main display and a secondary one where you can extend your workspace. And now you tell me in the comments section, What do you think of today's laptop? Is it a practical idea or more of a marketing gimmick to attract attention to the device? That was today's video. I'm looking forward to reading your opinions, and if you're still here, subscribe to Techniqualities. Have a productive day and good luck!